Welcome to Waters of Memory. My name is Eric. If you are looking for help tapping into your personal purpose and power, you can find my website and my Patreon in the link tree down in the description. And on the topic of this video, I recently published an attunement to my Patreon to the personal daemon to help you connect with it or strengthen your connection to it if you've already made contact, which is available both on one of the tiers as well as a standalone purchase. Now, as for the videos I publish on YouTube, I am not monetized. I have no plans to monetize. I want the videos published to YouTube to be available to help people for free, regardless if it's a video like this or an attunement or a channeled healing. If you have anything to spare, I always appreciate tips. And regardless, a like, a share, a subscribe, and a comment, all of that helps me in the algorithm, and I greatly appreciate it. If you ever see me doing a sponsorship for NordVPN or Raid Shadow Legends, I have been taken over by brainworms. Please send help. So when it comes to the topic of the personal daemon, the thing that I want to drive home the most is that it's you. It does not exist like a separate entity, but conceptualizing it as a separate entity can help you connect with different aspects of your soul, as long as you can keep in perspective that it's just you. So the perfect analog to this would be the inner child. The inner child does not actually exist. If you open up your rib cage, there is not a miniature version of yourself in there that stopped growing at the age of 7 and contains all of your desires, thoughts, etc. from your childhood. The inner child is usually spoken of in a healing context, and immediately it invokes this idea, oh, I carry unprocessed emotions from when I was young. There's a lot of things that shaped me when I was young that are impacting my mindset and my emotional life as an adult. Specifically, there's a lot of ways that I stopped developing at a certain age because of certain experiences. And because of that, I don't do as good of a job regulating my emotions as an adult as I need to. Or I keep mentally flashing back to things that I don't even remember that happened when I was young. And I need to rewire those neural pathways if I want to move past reliving these old loops and relying on those skills that I developed to cope in an environment where I was powerless and I didn't have control over things. So when it comes to the personal daemon, and this is why I use personal daemon over higher self. The language is important. So when it comes to the inner child, I'm sure there's another way of framing it that could be just as effective as connecting to those things within yourself. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but when it comes to something like higher self, yes, I've grown to have a deep distaste for anything that has a new age flavor to it, but my biggest contention with it is that when I think higher self, I immediately frame it as this is a version of me that is more perfect than I currently am, and it creates this gap in my mind that feels impossible to close. Like, the higher self is never something I can actually embody because it's higher than me. It's not me. It's dictating things to me. Instead of becoming more myself, I'm creating this fracture where instead of becoming more free, instead of becoming more capable, it's like I'm turning this part of me into this domineering force in my life. And this also has a tendency of getting wrapped up in our own cognitive distortions. Because what is perfection? There is no perfection, not in some static state There is no point where you stop growing. There is no point where you stop evolving. If there is any kind of perfection whatsoever, it's found in the motion of evolution. It's found in the motion of life. But in terms of where my mind goes, when I'm thinking back to, where I started, how I used to conceptualize things, I thought of my higher self as being more of a type A personality that could work 70-hour weeks, but also have perfect balance in their personal life. And that's not how it works. And anyone who has done the work of connecting with the deeper aspects of their soul can tell you that the more you do that, the less compatible you become with that sort of corporate type A personality. Unless your dharma is to enter the corporate world and dominate, or to just completely devote yourself to a certain career and shape it in your own image as part of your legacy, you are going to drift away from that model, and you're going to pursue your own pathway to success, and only enter that world to the extent that it serves your broader aims. The personal Daemon doesn't have that kind of baggage for me. One of the most beautiful descriptions I've heard someone use, or one of the most beautiful labels, was a client of mine who didn't jive with the term higher self, but referred to it as their soul. And that's really what this is. When you're connecting to the Daemon, you are connecting to your soul. You are connecting to the essence of who and what you truly are, and what you intend to do, and what you intend to become in this lifetime and within this world. Your soul is projecting you into this existence in order to accomplish things, to shape itself and to shape this environment and have an impact on other people and other souls in ways that it wouldn't be able to if you didn't exist. So it can be useful to think of your Daemon as someone you can sit here and have a conversation with, because it can be useful just to think of having a conversation with any part of yourself. Again, going back to the inner child. If you envision yourself as a child sitting in front of you, that can be a deeply revealing and healing conversation. But it's only healing if you keep it in that perspective of, this is me. These are parts of myself that I'm talking to. And I'm not only learning things about myself, I am integrating and embodying myself more fully by having these conversations. If you've ever worked with spirits, spirits can have a number of different sigils. And these sigils can all be valid ways of contacting them. You may find yourself drawn to a specific sigil because it connects you with a certain aspect of that spirit that is beneficial to you at that time. Or it may just be what you resonate with most because of your individual makeup. You can think of the way that you conceive your Daemon or higher self almost as a conceptual sigil. So my Daemon, I'm going to link an article I wrote to tie in with this video in the description. The first time my Daemon ever appeared to me, it was as an X. And that wasn't to torment me. And it wasn't to mock me, even though it was playful, and it was playful at my expense to a point. It was to drive home how I would cling to certain things, and how that got in the way of me carrying out the things that I am alive and present in this world to do. And my daemon has appeared to me in a number of different forms. I usually see it in a humanoid form that looks very much like myself. And I think part of the reason for that is to drive home that, yes, it is me. But it's able to change how it presents because it is vast. It is showing me that I am just as vast as many of the spirits that I respect and work with. And that part of this lifetime is coming into a conscious awareness and embodiment of that. And it's also showing me the specific things that I need to zero in on at any given moment that I am communing with it and that I'm going deeper into myself. And this is something, in terms of communion with the personal daemon, it's both made simpler and more complicated than it actually is. When I say simpler, I mean what the frou-frou mush people tell you in New Age circles is typically wrong. They will tell you that your higher self is all love, that it's never going to be harsh towards you. It always feels like being hugged by warm marshmallows when you're in contact with it. And I can tell you, those people have parasites, and they're interacting with thought forms and parasites exclusively. If you're being soothed all the time, you are not actually in touch with the depths of your soul. Your soul is not going to be cruel to you for no reason, but it's not going to urge you to avoid pain, because your daemon, its goal is to accomplish its will through you in this lifetime. And it's not loving to encourage you to avoid pain and embrace comfort at the cost of your growth, your healing, and your ability to put trauma behind you. And where it gets made more complicated, well, communion with the Holy Guardian Angel has been emphasized in a lot of different traditions, under different names, through different rites. But those rites are often quite complicated and not something that a lot of modern people are going to have the time or the resources to do, even if they had the constitution to stick it out. And you don't need that. Your soul speaks to you in the silence. Your soul speaks to you through your intuition. Your soul, your daemon, will speak to you and work through you if you just offer the invitation for it to do so, and you make it a consistent practice and treat it like something that is a constant work in progress, as opposed to this destination that you're trying to reach. Because one thing I can tell you is that making contact with your daemon is not going to lead you to enlightenment. You are not going to have all of your problems suddenly vanish. You are not going to suddenly be raised above the rest of humanity. And if you start acting like you have been, that's a sign of your ego going out of control and most likely having attachments, dealing with parasites, and being stuck in a maze of your own thought forms. Actual communion with the personal daemon brings humility. Not humility in the sense of making yourself small, but in the sense that you understand your place. And understanding your place means that you know what you know what you don't know. You understand that there are probably things you don't know that you don't know. And where you are capable, you stand by that. You assert that you are capable. If you have a right to hold a place, if you have a right to hold authority, you stand by that. You don't play small, because if you're playing small regarding something where you have a right to be there, for politeness or whatever else, that's ego. That's just as much ego as overinflated pride is. Communion with the daemon will bring you to the point where you are not arbitrarily placing yourself above everyone else. You know where you are capable of being corrected, what you are capable of learning, where you need to take a step back and let someone else take point and teach you. But it will also bring you to a point where you have a sense of confidence in yourself. And you stand on business when the situation calls for it, without letting self-doubt, without letting fear get in the way of it. Note that I didn't say you won't be afraid. It's not that you won't have self-doubt. It's that the daemon will show you where you need to push through it in order to fulfill your purpose in this life, to fulfill your daemon's true will. And where pushing through it will bring you to that point where the self-confidence begins to become more instinctive and the self-consciousness falls away. The point of communion with the personal daemon, higher self, soul, whatever you want to call it, it's not about putting yourself on a pedestal above the rest of humanity. It's not about achieving a standard of perfection. It is about becoming more and more yourself over the course of your life. It is about connecting with who you are and what you wanted to be and to accomplish underneath all the societal conditioning and expectations, and doing it without apology. So for the attentive, this was the first video I put up that has a splice in it. Feeling a little bit of a scratch in my throat following the holidays, and it was difficult to get this done in all one take like I normally do. I've gotten my groove. I really like how this take went, so I didn't want to discard all of it just because I lost my train of thought right at the very end of the video. I hope that you found this video beneficial. If you liked it, please leave a like down below. Leave a comment if you've got anything that you'd like to add to the discussion. I always love discussion on these topics. And please go ahead and spread it around if you think anyone else would benefit from it. I look forward to seeing you guys on the next video.